Hey YouTube, it's Leah. I am your Friday vlogger for the Back to Basics channel. And the topic this week is non-scale epic fails. And you know, it's so funny to go and watch the other videos because it seems like we always have the same things in common. It's crazy. So I will say that I have two non-scale epic fails. The first one would be vitamins. Vitamins, particularly iron. Getting your lab work done, and I'll share with you why. Because I was really, really good about taking my vitamins. I was awesome. And then I just started getting really tired and run down, and that was over the summer, and I thought maybe it was because I had taken on, you know, my job, and then I was teaching at the college 2 classes. So I just thought maybe I was just really busy. Well, that wasn't the case, because I got my lab work done and found out that I was severely anemic. My iron was the normal iron level you should be at for, I'm 42, not pregnant, so it should be around 12. My iron was 8.5. Anything less than 8% is severely anemic. Well, they immediately wanted to do iron infusions, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. Well, I do not have health insurance. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. So, since I didn't feel like I was dying, that I was just run down and tired, I wanted the least expensive route to get my iron levels up. And that was by taking iron supplements. So thankfully I'm getting my energy back, and they said it would probably take 3 to 4 months to do. So it's time for me to get my lab work done. So we'll see. But the epic non-scale fail about that was I did not realize that the multivitamin I was taking every day didn't have iron in it. So, I personally don't consume a lot of iron in the foods that I eat. I don't eat seafood, I don't like it, and I don't eat red meat because I don't like it. Those are foods that are very high in iron. The only foods that I really would get iron from would be beans, and, you know, green leafy vegetables. But, yeah, so again, making sure that you're on top of your labs, you're on top of your vitamins. At the very least, make sure that I thought a woman's multivitamin would have, I never thought to look to see if it had iron. Never. So that's my epic fail, and I'm paying the price for that. So, yeah. So my other non-scale epic fail kind of goes along with what Tanya and Dana talked about, is relationships. And I've talked openly about this on my YouTube channel before. I think I talked about it the very first video I did on Back to Basics. But I keep moving around, I can't get comfortable. So I kind of took notes because I get sidetracked so easily, y'all. And as far as the non-scale epic fail for me, it would really be neglecting my partner's needs. And I didn't realize that for a really long time. And, you know, this time last year, I hadn't moved out. I mean, we broke up I moved out of the house, got a condo. You know, the relationship everything had just taken its toll. You know, the weight loss surgery journey is a crazy journey for many different reasons, but for me, the one major change was the weight loss and the changes that did come along with it. And, you know, it's not only was my body changing, but other things were changing. And the world around me started treating me differently. And whether I wanted to believe that was true or not, it was. And what I found out is that when I was heavier, I just really kind of sort of blended in. I always knew I was big, and I always just kind of tried to blend in by always making people happy and making people laugh, and probably giving too much of myself, not saying no, or saying yes when I should have said no. And I neglected myself and my needs during, you know, all that time when I was heavier. And so during the course of my relationship with David, you know, I always felt like he really did, and he still does, do a really good job of protecting me. I know that might sound, I don't know if that's the right word, but, and I think vice versa. We just really always just kind of took care of each other. And then all of a sudden, I lost weight. And things changed. The dynamics of the relationship changed, and it shifted, and David seemed like he had a really hard time adjusting. And for him, honestly, in his defense, it really must have been difficult during that time to adapt and stay supportive of my efforts to get healthy. Particularly when that resulted in moving my attention away from him. And I say that by the fact that I spent a lot of time on YouTube, Facebook, social media, and not realizing that I wasn't taking care of his needs. And I was too busy taking care of myself. And during that time, I didn't understand his whole discomfort with everything. It left me confused, upset, guilty, because here I was meeting my own needs for the first time in my life, and I'm happy, and I'm all of these things, and he wasn't. And in meeting my own needs, it forced him to have to make sacrifices. So we were really we really kind of went into a transition phase in our relationship. And for me, it felt like I had to make a choice between honoring my needs to improve my health and well-being and honoring his needs. And that was terrifying, because it was so terrifying to put myself first. I'd never, ever done that in the 40 years I'd been on this planet. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. I think a lot of us that have been heavier, that was our coping mechanism. And it was really terrifying. And, you know, all these years I put everyone else first because I was afraid if I didn't that I would lose them. And now I had finally put myself first, and all of a sudden that there was a greater fear, because now the result was I was now losing the connection that I had with David. And it was so confusing. I didn't know how to balance and do both things. He labeled me as selfish, and he was right. I mean, he was honestly right. But my new life depended on me making choices that may have been selfish. Having weight loss surgery requires you to invest a ton of time and energy and dollars into changing lifelong patterns of putting others first, and making it so that my happiness had to wait. And what I realized is that I did kind of become selfish. I had finally had enough. I had waited long enough. This was what I had wanted, to always be happy and healthy. And here I was, and now the man who's supposed to be so supportive of me is telling me, you're not the woman I met. You're not the woman I met. And he's so right. I am not the same woman that he met 4.5 years ago. I'm not the overweight woman who only longed to please him and others. I'm not the overweight woman who just wanted to go out and eat and drink and party it up. Although I still like to do that, it wasn't my priority any longer. I'm not the overweight woman who avoided certain places so that I wouldn't be seen, just because I was so unhappy with myself. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to get out. And he would say that, he missed the good old days. And for that, I am truly sorry to him. And we're together today, so we've obviously worked some of these issues out, but this is kind of just the whole transition. And the one, like I said, non-scale epic fail, that if I could go back and do some things over again, I would have done a better job prioritizing his needs. And some of the other videos that people have kind of said similar things. All of a sudden, I didn't stress about the house not being cleaned or the toys not being picked up. Like, all of a sudden, there were just certain things that weren't a big deal to me anymore, because I was alive and I was happy and I was healthy and I had all of this energy that I'd never had before, that I didn't even know what to do with. And it sucked, because I thought, why couldn't he be on board with this? What is his problem? Why he should be so happy for me? And he was, but he just had a really hard time adjusting to the new side of me. And I didn't give him credit for that. I think I was always that person. It was just, everything was amplified now after I lost the weight. And losing weight made me realize that finally I am worth it. And I never believed that before. And it put me in a position a year ago when I decided to move out, because I realized that I didn't need a man I didn't need a man to please. And although I loved him, pleasing him was not going to be the basis of my universe and my existence any longer. That there had to be some kind of happy medium. And if he wasn't willing to get on board with it, then that was just going to be it. So moving out for 6 months was definitely the best thing that could have happened with our relationship, because it made both of us look back and appreciate the things that we loved about each other, and that relationships are tough and they're not always easy. And what I realized was that David was the man I loved, that he was the person that I was going to make a choice to be with, and that I loved and appreciated him for what he does for me and what he had done for me. Not, I had spent so much time focusing on what he hadn't been doing instead of focusing on what all the great things that he does for me and my daughter. And it was only then that I truly appreciated him. And ironically, he realized really the same things. But again, just I write the stuff down and I still get sidetracked. So again, the non-scale epic fail would just be, again, if I could go back and do a redo, it would really be the connection and with, my partner, and realizing that their needs were just as important as mine. And I think that many of us on this journey, we forget that. We do. And it takes a while, I think, for you to figure it out. And, they say that good relationships don't just happen, that they take time and patience and a lot of hard work. And thankfully, with my relationship, we were, we're two people that truly want to be together. And today versus 1 year ago, we're in such a better place. He is so much more understanding of the quirky things that I have to do with my journey. He's become more involved as far as meeting some people in the weight loss surgery community. I think it's helped that he's been able to he met Tanya's husband over the summer, and they shared a lot of commonalities that I think it made him realize that I wasn't just this total freak, and at the end of the day that it didn't matter to him. And so again, I wish that I had just not been so neglectful. And so that's my Friday vlog. And yeah. So vitamins, make sure you take your vitamins, and make sure that you also support your partner and their needs as well as your own. All right, so take care, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye, guys.